This is the Dental Up Podcast, your daily source for insights from dentists and leaders in the industry. Brought to you by Keating Dental Lab, a full-service, award-winning dental lab that is here to add value to your dental practice. With high-quality restorations, friendly, reliable service, the best products and prices, come experience the Keating difference. Visit KeatingDentalLab.com for details.
Dr. Khalili, good morning and welcome to the Dental Up Podcast. I'm very excited to meet you and hear about your product called Nu Brace.
Hi, how are you? It's a pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you so much. It's going to be great meeting you in person here in a couple of days. I'm very excited for that as well. But if you could start off, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your education, where you went to school, where you practice, and where you teach.
Okay. I graduated as an undergrad from UCLA in a degree in biology and psychology. And I continued my educational endeavor to Boston University, where I received a Doctor of Medical Dentistry. I was an honorary captain at the U.S. Coast Guard because I finished my courses early, and it was a pleasure. Up there in Alameda, San Francisco, we had a great time. I started seeing patients in head and neck trauma. As a martial artist, I'm a double black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and black belt in Taekwondo. And since we're on that subject,
That means all your patients pay on time.
yeah, I'm actually world champion 2010 in Brazilian
Oh my
Jiu-Jitsu,
gosh.
45 and over.
Congratulations. That's
Thank you so
wonderful.
much. No, it was honorable. I was under Higan Machado, 9-time world champion. He helped me through that. And going back to my educational endeavors, so then I went back to UCLA as a scientist. I have 62 research publications and under Dr. Angelo Caputo, who passed away a few years ago. His expertise was photoelastic stress analysis, where we assess forces exerted on various anatomical structures to the head and neck area. And then the materials we were working with, you have a harder, higher modulus material for skull and bony issues. And then you have solithane, which is a lower modulus, which we use for softer tissues. And one day we were mixing the solithane material with the spatula. And then I put the spatula on a polycarbonate sheet while I was stirring with a different tongue blade. And then after the next day, I went back, I saw my polycarbonate sheet with the tongue blade of solithane, and I lifted up the tongue blade and I looked at the sheet and I noticed that the two materials, polycarbonate and solithane, were adhering together very nicely. And just to backtrack a little bit, I was looking into laminate combinations. So then I contacted 3M. I contacted some of the top companies in the world to see if they could come up with, including a Bayer Material Science Division. So here we are by accident. I find two of the nicest materials that are compatible with one another. They can actually flex. And at the same time, we have a lower modulus material on the internal aspect of the laminate sheet and then a harder polycarbonate material on the external aspect. I started doing some scientific research in there. Again, I was in the Department of Biomaterial Science. We're the experts in photo stress analysis and various research studies that people from China, Japan, all over the world would come to our office and we would do publications with them. As soon as they went back to their country, their position would significantly raise and level. So anyway, going back to this, I started doing some publications in relation to orthodontic teeth movement, comparing laminate materials that we've come up with versus unlaminated, like just polycarbonate, pretty similar to what Invisalign and 99% of other clear aligner companies are using. And we noticed that when we have a lower modulus internal lining, the force of distribution was more uniform, thereby subjecting less localized forces, which obviously we know two of the iatrogenic concerns in orthodontics is bone resorption and root resorption.
Sure.
And so with this combined material, we noticed that the lower modulus causes a longer duration and lower localized forces to the teeth during teeth movement. So that's pretty much the basis of Nu Brace. And this study commenced about 14, 15 years ago.
Wow. How many cases have you treated successfully with Nu Brace?
We've had over 2,000 cases. And so what happened is we started contacting various entities, and Norm Weinstock, who was
Sure.
formerly, vice president of Henry Schein, president of their Labs Dental Lab, he helped us bring a near partnership with Henry Schein. And it was a multi-million-dollar deal along with Glidewell, who was going to be doing the manufacturing. Henry Schein was going to be doing the distribution. And then what happened is Henry Schein was in a $400 million a year deal with Ormco for distribution of their products. And then Ormco got into a litigation battle with Invisalign, and Invisalign ended up losing, Ormco getting 10% of that deal, and it became a conflict of interest. So that deal went down the drain. And then several other companies were very interested. And because of Invisalign's litigious approach, they backed out. But 2017, Invisalign's patent was expired after 17 years. And so now it's pretty much open domain in those areas. And in addition to the lower modular bilaminate material, we have technologies that we have patent pending, which no other entity on the planet has in the clear aligner industry. So here we are, and it would be an honor to do some work with Keating Dental to get this back up in the right way.
Absolutely. That sounds fantastic. And you summed it up perfectly, obviously, as the owner and the founder of the company, its ins and outs. But there's so many companies and so many different systems try to knock off Invisalign after the patent expired. And I've seen some products and they all look the same, really. But yours truly has a unique and different approach to the stress question. And with lower stress and lower modulus of elasticity, does that prolong the treatment phase any?
What it does is our research studies showed if you have a graph on the XY axis, it shows that Invisalign and other technologies, because of the higher modulus and one characteristic of the material, it's a rapid initial force to the teeth, and then it curves, drops down. The forces of exertion from the aligner to the teeth, it drops down rapidly, thereby after an initial time period, it doesn't exert sufficient force for teeth movement. Whereas with our laminated material, the force is more gradual and a longer duration of force. So we're recommending pretty much similar every 2 weeks to insert the new sets of upper and lower aligners. And it's a 20 set, 10 to 12 month period. Nearly all of our cases were completed within a 1 year period. Of course, we inform the patients that there are a lot of limiting factors that we have no control over. For example, some teeth could be ankylosed, some teeth could be longer roots, shorter roots, circular roots, and there's limitations, no guarantees as to how close to perfection one can get. But we're getting pretty nice results on these cases. And I think one of the key things for the practicing dentist is case selection. And 20 to 30% of the cases are not recommended. They're
Yeah.
recommended for wires and brackets and so forth. If it's more than 4, 5, 6 millimeters of required movements, or if it's class 3, then you have to assess that, maybe just doing the interior alignment, maintaining the class 3 relationship, or if it's developmental abnormalities. But besides those, things are looking nice. So we would be training the dentist on case selection. And
That is so important. I've seen so many cases. I've spoken to my children's orthodontist so many times, and case selection. The general practitioner that wants to get involved in this, they want to do it on every case, but case selection and using the product and the technique wisely is so important.
absolutely, what an honor it is to speak with someone who has the in-depth knowledge and of the whole discussion that we're having. It's really a pleasure speaking with you.
It goes back to the forces where I remember my son, he'll put in a new tray on day one with Invisalign, and sure enough, his teeth are always sore that night, the next morning, day two and day three. But by day four, it's like nothing. And the teeth move and they adapt. And they shift into the position of the new tray. And then when you go add the subsequent tray in, yeah, you're going to be sore for a couple days. The teeth adapt and the teeth move. But yeah, this is very exciting. And we're always looking for new products and new ideas. And thank you for coming on and sharing your wisdom and your experience with the Dental Up Podcast audience. Can you describe how a new dentist that wants to get involved in the new brace technology, how they would begin their journey?
Yeah, we have a audible tutorial of case selection off the website, newbrace.com. And also for patients, we have a question and answer upload photo that's going to be up within a week that they can upload their closed mouth and smile photos. And we would right off the bat within 24 hours let the patient know if that's a new brace candidate or not. I would just recommend to 10 years ago, you actually had to educate dentists about clear aligners and so forth. But I think now 80 to 90% are very familiar with it. And about 75% of dentists are taking shot at it. Some of the key things in inserting the aligners, they would have to get educated on. For example, you want to make sure you're not pinching the cheeks, internal soft tissues. And then you want to, as same way you put a tire on, you want to make sure you don't tighten one nut all the way and then the others. So you want to insert it evenly distribution until it pops all the way in. You want to visually look at the incisal edges of the aligner, how it interfaces with the teeth. You want to make sure it's all inserted. Now, in certain situations, when a tooth is intruded and you want to extrude the tooth, intentionally, New Brace will fabricate the aligner so there was additional space as the teeth continue to move until they have a contact point. So just on the inherent characteristics that there is no contact, the tooth in often cases would begin to super erupt until it hits the aligner. So these are just some basic things that we would have to share with the dentist and get them on the ball. What they do is the beauty of doing new brace or Invisalign, the patient comes in every 2 weeks, you insert them, the patient goes, so you keep the chair warm and then you have additional options to look at the other conditions that the patient would need. Or if the patient is far, we have about 50 patients in China, for example, and we ship the cases out. So you can ship them out. And I have a patient just came in from Singapore and he comes twice a year and then we follow his kids that way. So you can ship them, you can see them, you can send them. And so there's a lot of variations and it's a very convenient procedure to do. He can actually teach his dental assistants to insert it. And these are the benefits of doing in office versus at home, because we also have an option that we're going to be launching is business to consumer direct, where we send the impression kits out, the patient takes an impression, sends it back. So in that situation, you don't have direct supervision and you have to be very careful the kind of cases. If it's overcrowding, you're not able to do any IPR, interproximal reduction or anything like that. And patients may not be happy because of that limitation being a direct in-home. So I'm not sure how Smile Direct and other Bite and other clear aligners that are direct to home, I'm not sure if they analyze those things to that detail. So these are the options and benefits. And I think the dentist would be financially rewarded on this. Lab fee is approximately $2,000. And if they do more than 5 cases, that drops down based on the number of cases that they're doing. And they're charging anywhere between $5,000 to $7,000. So the numbers are significant, a lot easier on the body. As a martial artist, as a dentist, for years and years, dentistry is very difficult on your body, very demanding on your back and so forth. Treating patients for clear aligners is a significant improvement, less demand on the body, and financially probably more lucrative.
I know a lot of our current Keating customers are looking into different clear aligner solutions. I think by far the lion's share is going with Invisalign, but I've heard some others like Clear Correct and the Smile brands.
Yes.
And again, with some success, but some failures. And again, it goes back to case selection. So I think you've got the individual dentist trying to choose the cases correctly, but is there another safety valve built in place that if you see the cases where I'm sure you have a panel of dentists that are reviewing these cases as well, Is there another safety valve built in to ensure success final out?
Yes, the dentist or the patient would have an option, which we would recommend just by going online and taking a picture of their smile, closed teeth position and open teeth position right off the bat, no x-rays or anything. We would be able to, with a 80% accuracy, give them an indication, hey, yeah, move forward on this case. So right off the bat. And if the dentist wishes, after doing the treatment plan on our side, we would send it out to the dentist, and the dentist can evaluate it and make changes if they wish. So they have an option. Like, for example, I had the chairman of UCLA orthodontics as one of our advisors, and we were doing cases for them, and he wanted us actually to do the treatment plan all the way through, even the chairman of UCLA orthodontics. But they have that option if they want to go hands-on. So there are ways to increase the propensity of their success with our support.
Excellent. So tell us about the workflow. A dentist here in Huntington Beach has Mrs. Jones, who may or may not have had ortho as a child or adolescent, but now she's in her early 50s and she's got some crowding and she wants her teeth to be straight and everything. How does the dentist in Huntington Beach start the workflow off? Is it physical impressions? Is it a digital scan? Where do they send the impressions off to? Where do they send this scan and the case to?
Okay. So the business model that I wanted to propose to your team would be that the dentist can initially upload and submit the pic photo of the patient. And right off the bat, we tell them if it's a candidate for new brace aligners or not. Then they would either take an impression or a digital scan of upper and lower arches. They would send that file to our CAD division, computer aided design. We would go ahead and scan it if necessary, or we would take the STL file. We would digitally incrementally move the file in 20 increments from initial to final, both top and bottom. And then we would send those 20 sets of files to your lab. You guys would print it. You would use our proprietary laminate sheets to fabricate the aligners, put them in the new brace boxes and ship them back out to the dentist. The dentist would contact the patient. Even though he would have the whole box, it's up to the dentist how many he wants to give. Initially, we would recommend giving the patient 2 sets. That would be for 1 month. So they would insert 1 set on that visit, make sure everything is fitting properly, teach the patient how to insert it after the dentist verifies everything is accurate. Then in 2 weeks, the patient on their own will go ahead and take those out and put the second set in. And then after a month, the patient will come back and continue the process. In our opinion, after 2 months of this, that'll be 2 visits by the patient. The dentist can ship out to the patient if they wish for another 3 or 4 months worth. So in reality, I would recommend dentists to see the patient 4 times throughout the year, distributed in 2.5-month intervals. And that's pretty much the whole process.
Yeah, that's a very simple workflow. It's a well understood workflow. Again, it relies on patient compliance. They have to be able to.
They're
along
paying the
with
money.
Yeah.
And you tell them, look, in order to get your money's worth, you need to wear it. If you wear it 20 hours maximum, because you need 4 hours of relaxation and make sure the intercuspation is not altered. So
Right.
20 hours, Mrs. Jones, 20 hours is the optimum time period for you to wear it. So we would recommend taking it off after dinner. And then when you go to sleep, put them back on. That's pretty much it. And you take them off all the time when you're eating and drinking and things like that, making sure after every meal you're brushing your teeth to make sure there's no acid buildup and so forth to diminish any chance of bacteria infiltration. So then the patient wears it. And Mrs. Jones, if you wear it half the time, it's not going to be twice as long of treatment. It's going to be probably 4 times as long of treatment. So when you tell them that, so it's on a logarithmic scale. So it's not direct relation to time worn. So it's not, if you wear it 20 hours compared to 10 hours, it's going to be twice as fast. It'll be 4 times as fast.
Yep.
Because every time you take the aligners off, the teeth, because of memory relapse, they want to move back
Drift
to where they
back,
were.
yeah.
So that's how you convey it. And then Ms. Jones, you're paying this money. Let's get down to it and let's make the money worthwhile. Because a smile is confidence. And that's
Definitely.
where it's critical in this day and age.
Yeah, and it's a very motivating factor too when they're paying that money and they hear the fact that, okay, 20 hours is 20 hours or it's going to set you back a lot on time. So it's very motivating. Let me talk about the thickness of the material because it's a bilaminate material. Does that add any thickness to a conventional Invisalign?
No, it's about a 0.04 inch, 2 millimeter thickness. And by the time you
2 millimeters.
fabricate the aligner, it stretches out a little, so it comes down a little less than that. And the thickness is about the same. The aesthetics is about the same. And New Brace crystalline aligners. And we have technology that I'm not sure if other companies are using to optimize that. We would obviously share with you the whole process, but the technology that we have leaves untouched the both sides of the laminate sheets all the way through completion of fabrication and just prior to inserting into the box. Then you would take care of the final movement. So you have a protective sheet on the aligner all the way through. That way, there's no scraping lines or no shading, darkening, or anything like that.
That sounds great for us as technicians. Very simple. There's no polishing. Then you just trim the tray into the vestibule and you're done then.
Yeah. Yeah. And you guys are just amazing. I'm very familiar with your company being at UCLA, with the faculties were talking about your company, the cases they were getting, and you're very high tech. This is a perfect business model to work with your entity. In fact, I have not contacted any other labs. Um, and so I think this would be a nice model. You're high tech. And speaking with Sean and looking at the products and equipment that you have, I think the training curve would be a 1 week training seminar to where we would send someone out there to go over the process, and then you're on your own. You're doing your own thing that you're experts at. Meanwhile, we're doing our thing, the digital movements that we're experts at, and the treatment planning. So the relationship would be fantastic.
Definitely. And we'll get you out here for some night courses, some weekends where we can get some more dentists here on site and you can teach them about your material and about your technique and about the company and why this is the up and coming clear aligner system out there on the market today.
I like that. That's fantastic the way you're approaching it. And really, that is the way, hands on, face to face. You get an intimate relationship. And why I think it's better to work with your company is that you already have a relationship with your dentist and you have a good number of dentists. So that rapport gives them respect to, to appreciate whatever you're proposing. So I think it's a win-win all the way around for the dentist specifically.
Definitely. This will be a very fun project. I'm excited. New year, new product lines, new patients to treat. That's what
And
dentistry is all
new
about is
brace.
helping. Yeah, new brace, right. Help helping people. That's what we do. And we want a tagline for our company used to be creating smiles every day. And there's no easier way, no more predictable way to do it than with clear aligners.
Wow.
As long as you fall into that window of case selection, and it's conservative dentistry, which is what I've always been taught is the best thing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. We can have a dentist prep 10 teeth and we can make veneers all perfectly straight and straighten out the teeth that way. And it's instantaneous, but that's an awful lot of trauma to the teeth
A lot
sometimes,
of
and
trauma. And
yeah,
especially we're addressing the two main concerns of iatrogenic dentistry, bone resorption and root resorption by doing a gradual teeth movement using new brace laminar aligners. So we would address all the downs and then there would be more ups than downs on this.
I love that. So taking away 2 of the most significant sequelae of orthodontic tooth movement is you've already addressed that with your material, and that's fantastic, and I love how things sometimes happen by accident. You know,
Yeah.
you saw your spatula adhered to the cellophane, but that's science. It starts with an observation, and
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Kalili, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything that we missed? Is there anything that we need to cover before you come in next week?
No, I think you covered. You're really sharp, man. I know I said it a couple of times, but you really impressed me by not just being a technologist and a salesman and a laboratory director of lab division, but you just have an overall vision that's just amazing. And it would be an honor to on with your
Oh,
team.
thank you so much. You're too kind. I must share with you, dentistry has been entrenched in my head and brain as Gosh, probably as young as 6 or 7 years old. My father was a dentist, and,
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
We got to give him some credit on this then.
yeah, I learned a lot from him, but thank you so much. Be well, have a great weekend, and I really look forward to meeting you in person next week.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Okay, thanks,
Okay.
doctor.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Dental Up podcast, your daily source for insights from dentists and leaders in the industry. This episode is sponsored by Keating Dental Lab, here to add value to your dental practice. With high-quality restorations, friendly, reliable service, the best products and prices, come experience the Keating difference. Visit KeatingDentalLab.com for details.